good evening and welcome to this Sunday, March 14th edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me as co-host, Garrett Punchy Dill. We await Maceo Dill and Nikita Robinson. And we do have Deshaun Cooper, who is a player with Crossroads, goalkeeper, former national coach in the goalkeeping realm as well. I'm just getting a message from Maceo. Unfortunately, he can't make it. But we want to talk about where we are right now as far as football. Obviously, Deshaun, you as a player, obviously I know you, like many other players, will want to get back on the field. But take us through what it's been like for you since December 5th, because you guys were due to play that day. And of course, then comes the message that there's no games. And now we're March 14th. We're 4 months of no football. Coop, you there? All right, well, Punchy, while he sorts that out, obviously we have been, okay. Cooper, you're back?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, it was kind of up and down for me because that weekend I actually had to start quarantining because I had been in close contact with somebody that tested positive, right? And that was that Friday, and we were due to play Robin Hood on the Sunday. So it's really been up and down. I mean, at first when you quarantine or when you get away from it, and things slow down, you're kind of happy. But then after like 2 or 3 days, you're like, come on, man, like we have to get back to it, right? So it's been it's been like topsy turvy, so to speak. But I'm just happy that we're back in training, really. And it's somewhat getting back to normal, somewhat. But in reality, we're kind of far to go, aren't we? So
I'm sure. Hey, Deshaun, I'm sure talking about getting back to training. I would like to know. It's like when I first went back to work after the first lockdown.
Yeah.
So yeah. I can imagine, especially in a country like Bermuda, that what was it like in the first training sessions, getting back together with the guys? What was it like?
Spotty. I mean, spotty, right? Because you got guys that are in training and then out of training for various reasons. But it's nice. I mean, for me, it's not a real difference because I'm on the pitch daily, regardless. So I mean, it was kind of normal for me. But to go back there, it was okay. It wasn't any like readjustment period for me because again, I'm just used to being on the pitch, right? But yeah, no, it was nice. It was nice to be back out. Really, it's really nice to be back out.
Punchy, let me ask you because, like you mentioned just now, after the first lockdown and going back to work, imagine if you were a footballer now. How would you be reacting? Because when you played, the game was a big love, for everybody. I mean, the crowd, the players. But how would you think you would be handling something of this nature? First, you have a 6-month lockdown, and then now there's no football for 4 months. And
well, it's like
there's a big decision tomorrow.
Yeah, when I first went back to work with the guys that I hadn't seen for a while, it's like so much conversation. It's lively, It's like what you guys been doing and stuff like. But what I would have been doing if I'm thinking if I was in some, I think as a player or I probably would have been doing something physical. Outside, I probably would have been running. I don't know. I would have been doing something because just my commitment to the game. That's what I know I would have been doing. Me and I have my brothers also. So that's what I think I would have been. I would have been probably running and staying in shape, probably jogging the ball every other day, doing something related to the sport. Definitely, I would have been doing something. And I'm glad you asked me that question, because Deshaun, maybe I can ask you this here.
Yeah.
In my day, and on the weekends, and we had Coach Bowd on our last show in doing our memory lane last week. Yeah, and he was talking about how he used to run. You know, so often in our days we see guys running on the road. I'll be passing guys running with Cougars. I'm like, hey, there you go. Yeah, they go pass on the street on running. Anyway, the point that I'm making is, yeah, we would still get prepared because in our times it wasn't no breaks.
Yeah.
So that's really what I probably would have been doing, to answer that question. Yeah, I would have been doing something.
For a goalkeeper, though, timing of crosses, shots, all that is a little different because when you've not been doing it for quite some time, and to get that rhythm back, how much time did it take you, and how many training sessions did it take you to kind of get that timing back?
I mean, for me, okay, so pretty much for the last 2 to 3 months, I've just been helping Coach Bascom with these sessions with the FC Bascom 9s, 11s, 13s, 15s, right? Mm-hmm. And whenever I can, I play with the U13s and the 15s. Pretty much, I try to get in every session, and it's an odd number, and I just say to Coach, "Yeah, put me in." So that's helped. Along with me, really just going to the field, like even with like you said, timing the crosses. A ball and a wall is my best friend, really. All I have to do is just chuck it and just try to read the flight of the ball, and just go from there. A lot of kicking. Passing against the wall, first touch, a lot of throwing against the wall and catching. You know what I mean? That's just for me. You know what I mean? I'll just go to BAA, that big wall that's back there, couple balls, bare hand catching, gloves on, and just stuff like that, really. So it didn't really take me long because I'm weird. Like I'm just always in the zone, really. You know what I mean? And even lately, I've been watching a lot of footage. You know what I mean? So I have this newsletter now with the Goalkeeping Academy where I take a pro goalkeeper and I do stats on him pretty much. So for last month, I had to do Emi Martinez from Villa, right? And pretty much what I do with the analysis, I count the touches with the hands and feet, count how many saves they make, what type of saves they make, how many interceptions, like crosses and things like that, how many times, and just things like that. And I've been doing that with like a lot, right? And just putting it to social media and just stuff like that. And I think that's been helping as well because if I'm watching a match daily or if I'm watching highlights daily, then that stuff just kind of sticks in my mind. You know what I mean? Even just like you said, just those little things about timing the crosses and things like that, right? How to approach the ball. It just sticks, and I just think about it constantly, really.
Now, of course, you guys were having a tough time that first half of the season. The results weren't going your way. You pick up a win here and there, but things weren't going how I guess you guys had planned it at the beginning of the season. Effectively, when the break came, what was kind of the team chat that you guys can have some time off, regroup, and try to turn things around if and when this second half got started?
I think the worst thing was having a break after that win. You know what I mean? That energy after beating Colts, I mean, it was great. You know what I mean? And then going into the Robin Hood game, honestly think we would have had a chance. With the momentum that we had developed over that Colts game, the way we played, the way we kind of grinded out that result, right? But then just to stop, it threw us off, But the talk's always been positive. You know what I mean? Guys want to go back out and make sure that as soon as it starts back up, whenever it decides to start back up, that we were ready, right? Cameron's been in the chat daily or, every now and then saying, hey, you guys, be ready, stay ready, yada, yada. And obviously, the majority of the players are on board with it. You know what I mean? And I haven't played in the 2 friendlies that they've played in, but I've heard a lot of positive talk. So I don't think a lot of players wanted to go sleep, so to speak, during the break, and really wanted to dig out of this relegation battle. You know what I mean? Because who wants to get relegated? So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think I'm glad you brought that up. considering what you guys were like 2 years ago. I know you changed a guy from Morocco who's coaching you.
Yeah.
And I think
Larry.
I forget who, Larry Smith came on board, and then you've got another coach now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of always thought that you guys were very, very capable, but I was kind of surprised on just your position in the league now. First of all, having a good striker like you do have with Donovan, who I thought should always be invited to the national team. When he's saying this, he hasn't been. But so what do you put that down to? What is happening? You think it's a change of why are you guys like languishing in that position that you're in now before the pandemic came down?
Pretty much. I'll try to say it in as little words as I can, but like after we had that loss against Eagles, we had a team meeting, and we pretty much got everything out of the air that was bothering us. And pretty much what I had said to the group was, like in lack of a better term, we just prepared really poorly, I think. And that goes from the staff even down to the players. Preparing for games, we just weren't doing enough, to me. You know what I mean? And I voiced it, and obviously the group agreed. And I just told them straight up, like, Robin Hood prepared better than us. Danny Town Cougars, all of these teams prepared better than us. And I think that's what players and that's what teams have to realize. If I'm on the grind daily, if I'm on the grind 3, 4, 5 days a week, and you only on the grind 1 or 2 days a week, then who has the upper hand? You know what I mean? If we're talking about the so-called football gods, then who's more favorable, right? And I try to tell people that a lot, because even if like you look at somebody like me, I got into senior football really late. But when I got in, I'd like to think that I did pretty well, but it's because I was just constantly training and just trying to get the best of myself. You know what I mean? And I think that's the reason for my success, or whatever you want to call it. It's just down to preparation and just training, and obviously having a strong desire to not even necessarily be better than another team, but just to be at your optimal level, right? And I think that's where we fell short, really. And it wasn't due to, I'm not going to say Cameron's a bad coach or management or whatever. It's all around. It was all around. You know what I mean? So many players weren't given 100. Obviously, some of the staff weren't given 100, and it was known, it was acknowledged, and after that, we just kept moving forward. I think that's why we got that big result against Colts.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain just a little bit, because the goalkeeping style has changed? You made mention about saving with feet.
Mm-hmm.
You sit using your hands a lot, but a lot of goalkeepers nowadays are not using hands. They're using their feet a lot. What do you contribute that change to?
So, and again, this is me doing a lot of analysis with match footage and stuff, but the majority of shots now, or the majority of goals scored within 15 yards. Let's say between 12 and 15 yards. Mm-hmm. For example, and I use this a lot. I ran analysis for the 2019 Women's World Cup and the 2018 World Cup, and the percentage of goals scored inside the 18 was, with both tournaments combined, it was 90%. So 90% of the goals were scored from inside the 18, and I think that's where you see foot saves coming from. Obviously, if you're one-on-one with the goalkeeper and you look at the stance, or the set position rather, and you see how they close the space and how little space strikers have, or the attacker has rather, then they try to go low to a side, and then that's where the kick save comes, right? Mm. Or if they're trying to go through your legs, then you sweep the leg, or drop the leg, or whatever. So I think that's what it stems from. A lot of people are trying to score inside the 18 now and within 12 yards. So I think that's where that stems from.
Mm. So let me ask another. I'm glad you brought that up. So before, let's say, for instance, let's go back to the 1960s. I'm sure. Let's say now and then. Mm-hmm. Who would you say that maybe in goalkeeping that you thought was just great? I'm talking about, give me not just in the EPL, maybe worldwide? And who now that you think is one of the better goalkeepers now?
So I'll tell you, the person that made me want to be a goalkeeper was Casillas. Casillas made me want to be a goalkeeper. I think I watched him first when I was about maybe 7 or 8. So you're talking about like 2000, 2001, when Real Madrid had like just won the Champions League, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Right, that's not.
Yeah. I love
Don't talk to you.
Atletico Madrid are going to win the league. There, watch out. But yeah. So that's what made me fall in love with goalkeeping. Definitely Casillas. Neuer, hands down, has changed the position over the last 10 years. Guy's been solid. A personal role model of mine, though, in regards to the goalkeeping world and just the football world and just the world just in general, Tim Howard. A lot of people look at me weird when I say that, but I've been watching the guy ever since he signed for United from Metro Stars, right? From what they used to be called, right?
Right.
And I remember when I was little and I was watching him, and then I watched him make the transfer to Man United, and I just had my eye on him since. And main thing for me from him was just his character, you know what I mean? He was a great goalkeeper, but his character was unmatched. And then when he broke that record in 2014 and wrote the book, I read the book, read his story, learned more about him, and it's his like one of my all-time favorites. Another person though, Petr Cech. I think Petr Cech, he doesn't get mentioned as much as he should. And remember, he set a record in the Premier League, 202 clean sheets. I don't think anybody's ever going to break that record. So, but yeah, I definitely tip my hat off to him as well. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And now we're gonna ask you about locally.
Okay.
Other than you, now.
Yeah.
Here we go. So now locally, let's put it up. And you, give me someone now. Give me 2 names or 3 names that you think is the future of the country as a goalkeeper. Outside the people that are playing outside the country. Locally.
Malai Pirot, 16 years old, Danny Tan. He's only played about 7 games with Danny Tan. Has got 4 or 5 clean sheets.
Right.
Man of the match in his Premier League debut. And I've had the pleasure and the privilege of knowing him since he was about 12. I think he can make it. And I don't want him to take that the wrong way, and I don't want the country to take that the wrong way. But the kid has a chance. He has a chance, you know what I mean? And on top of that, on top of his ability, great kid. So humble. Humble in defeat and failure, and humble in victory. You know what I mean? I remember watching him in the U15s when my U15s had made it to the semifinal. He almost single-handedly won Capo for Danny Tan. Danny Tan went through 3 penalty shootouts, and Malai saved all the penalties, including against me. Right, I wanted to choke him so bad. But definitely that's definitely one to look out for. If I had to pick one out of everybody, it's definitely Malai Pirot. I think he had a trip over to Leicester as well. Got to spend a week or 2 over there. Him and CJ from PHC. Another one, not so much local, but his local now because it's him. But he goes off to college soon. Peter Sylvester. He was in the under-20 national team. I don't know if you guys know, but he's definitely another one to look out for. Solid. Absolutely solid. The guy could catch a meteor if it came raining down on the earth right now. You know what I mean? That's just his mentality. To catch every single shot possible, right? But if I had to, him, Malai Pirot, There's 2 heads. There's 2 names into the head. Yeah.
2 names. Good.
All right, gentlemen, let's just take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have more with Sean Cooper. We'll be right back.
The everyday use of spices goes back well over 6,000 years, evidenced by archaeological finds in Europe, including remains of spiced food. Since 1976, the Frontier Natural Foods Co-op has been bringing a wide range of exciting flavors to the table. The results are good news for the environment and more robust, fragrant essential oils in these natural seasonings. We're featuring Frontier Natural Products, organic ground cloves, rub sage leaf, and poultry seasoning. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Deshaun, obviously being around players, what's some of the talk of the players going through this? Obviously, I know you would talk to not just your teammates, but plenty others. What has been some of the talk about restarting or getting started again?
I've heard it all. I've heard it all. I've heard it all. I've heard that it should have started officially last month. I heard that we were supposed to start today. I heard that we were supposed to start last week. I heard that the U13, 15, and 17s were supposed to start yesterday and last week and the week before and the week before and the week before. So I've heard it all. I've heard it all, man. The only thing that I haven't heard is Barcelona coming on to have a practice match with us. So
I mean,
until the BFA turn the computer on and print off a schedule for me, I'm not really gonna believe anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all know that as much as we want the association to do, everybody's being held up by the health department right now. So
and you know that's not even me having a crack at them. That's just the reality. I mean, you can't tell me that we start next week and you haven't sent me a or, you know, you can't tell us where we're playing. So, for example, if the league's supposed to start or we're supposed to start today, and you want to have 2 matches at BAA, for example, you're going to ask Mike McGrath to cut the grass, to put up barriers, to have all the change rooms clean. It's not, just doesn't make sense to me. So that's not me having a crack at them, but it's just the reality, man.
Yeah. Punch, what do you think should happen with the rest of this season?
Well, I've talked to quite a few guys. I work with Freddie Hall.
Yeah, Freddie.
Yeah, Signal Freddie Hall. Yeah, and you know, both St. George's players. They were like, they were really thumbs down on. I just got the feeling that they were thumbs down on the league restarting again. You know, I still feel like the association has been giving us enough information to tell us, okay, listen, this is what we're going to do. This is what's going to happen. So teams could be better prepared. I do think that everybody's in limbo now in terms of what's really going to happen. I feel sorry for the players who want to prepare, and it's like, and you know, they got to work, and they're thinking, well, why am I really putting on this effort in training, and I don't know what's going to happen? What am I really going to do? So I do see both sides of the coin. I just think that we have it's just up in the air right now. I'm hoping soon that it will start. Something will happen, and we can finish the season off. You know, there's a lot of things in terms of who's going to be coming up, the promotion situation, and who's going down. And I'm sure, like I said, like even like Crossroads, people in Crossroads, like what's really going to happen. But again, I just hope that, like I said, with Crossroads and Deshaun, you know, the amount of people like yourself who put such effort in. My point is that I hope that the rest of the team, your team, can also put a little bit more, have a little bit of effort, and that's what I'm finding out. Sometimes the guards, your guard is down. Some players are fully fledged, like yourself. I do feel that with you, and the others are just okay. This might happen. Again, to answer the question, Earl, I just hope that maybe we can get restarted and just give the players a week or so preparation to say, this is when we're starting, this is what we're going to do.
With that said, I mean, there's got to be some buy-in from the players, because what you don't want to do is say, okay, let's start the season, and then some clubs don't have the required amount of players going through the process to restart. How does that look? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think it's going to have to be a collective decision, group-wise. I know the presidents have a meeting, a special Congress has been called for tomorrow by the association. That's going to deal with the business side.
Yeah.
Because there is a business side to these clubs, sports-wise, because obviously a lot of the field operators have another sport that they actually facilitate, which would have been starting to prepare for had the season been regular, because we would have only had 2 more weekends of league play according to the previous schedule. So, they're going to look at it from the business side. Now, what do the players do? What do the coaches do? Do the players say, okay, well, let's arrange something once we're given the permission, let's arrange something between ourselves. Let's have a mini tournament of some sort. But that's something that they have to collectively discuss with amongst themselves. And the unfortunate thing is, just like the coaches have an association, and we've been talking about this for a number of years, the players don't have no representation inside the association when it comes to meetings. And if the players could just come together one time and come together under one umbrella and then put themselves forward to the association, and there's ways you could find out how you could do it, and you have representation in the room, so you're not feeling like you're being dictated to, other than the fact that you have a voice. So that's the one thing that I think the players need to make sure that they get done in the very near future, because decisions are made for you and about you without you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Hey, I'm just sitting there laughing because it's something that myself and Coach Bascom were talking about just the other day. If you look at the player here, nobody represents the player, right? And
right.
It's one thing that I learned a couple of years ago, and I think a lot of people glaze over this fact, but the player is the most important aspect of world football, aren't they? If you take away the coaches, if you take away the administrators, if you take away all the outside stuff, the players are still going to find a way to have a kick, won't they? And I think now, and especially a time like now where it's COVID, where a lot of kicks have been going on unofficially.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it just goes to show, if you lose the player, then you lose the game. And just like you said, if you don't have a players union, and it's, I get that it's hard here, right? Because it's an amateur sport. It's, so how do you do it, right? What would it look like? Who would head it? You know what I mean? What would be the mission? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let me just say, I know for a fact, when COVID first hit and the EPL shut down, that was one of the first times I had ever heard that they had a captain's committee.
Yeah.
So if you're the captain of your team, you are the person that speaks for your team in this group. And they sit at the table with the FA. So basically, their voices are heard at the table when decisions are being made. So that when I heard that, I was like, oh wow! So here's an opportunity, because I know everybody watches the EPL. So there's an opportunity for guys to find that out, and quickly, players vote for the captain of the team for the year. Yes.
Yeah.
Or the coaches appoint them. Something.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So that's your representation on that committee of the players union, right? And then you turn around, and out of that group, you pick a president, vice president, just the same way the Coaches Association have administered themselves, and now they're a part of part of the meetings that the association held. So they're in the room, they're at the table, they're putting their hand up to object or to make a recommendation of sorts.
Yeah. But
as long as the players feel as if, oh, I don't like Deshaun, so I'm not going to be a part of him, and I don't want to. Yeah. Listen, if you have enough strong people around you, the decisions will be made for you, even if you're not at the table. But the chance to get at the table is the thing that you need to be doing.
Yeah.
Get at the table.
I agree.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. I had discussed this some time ago. I'm going back maybe 5, 10 years ago. The people who are footballers who have retired, speaking about the players' representation, which I thought it's been lacking in this country. Mm-hmm. Just like a union for the players we looked at, even though we are still amateur, regarded as amateur football. I think the players should have a voice, because as Deshaun said, they can have a kick anytime. They don't need no coaches or something. So hopefully, someone would take this and go with this so that players can be represented. Because if our country, and we keep talking about the country direction with football's going in this country, we can't have these we're okay, guys coming out, and I just think that we're just not. It's got to be, everything is got to be connected, and it comes from the fact that whether it's coaching now, all the coaching is required that you have a coaching badge. You can't, you're required by the FA Association, but the players, I think, are still not being represented, and I think that's probably another way where you're not getting full commitment.
Right.
And I think you guys about that a lot. Again, I think that's another direction that we got to be starting looking at in terms of players being represented by a union, the Players Representation Union. And I do believe that should be, that needs to be put forward. And somebody needs to put there, anyway, that's what I do believe. And I'm glad that
All you really need is 5 guys from 5 different clubs come together and start it, and then everybody else will follow.
Good point. Yeah. Well,
So we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about that.
Amy's Kitchen is an independent organic food producer, a family business who've been focusing on wholesome and flavorful foods for over 30 years. From their first pot pie right up to 1 million meals a day, and firmly believe in the importance of TLC throughout the entire journey to the final outcome. This month we're featuring Amy's Organic Soups, black bean, vegetable, minestrone, quinoa, kale, red lentil, low-fat split pea, and vegetable barley and more. All of them dairy, gluten, and lactose free. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Obviously, Deshaun, as a current player, people will be talking about that, and as former players, it was discussed, kind of privately or whenever something came around. But I think this will be the best time come this off season to really get guys to be serious about it, and then follow through with making the application to the association to be able to be in the AGMs, be in the semi-congresses, be in so that the players feel as if whenever decisions are made, they have some say in it. Whether you win it or not, whether you convince enough people or not. But there goes the thing that if the players are represented, they can literally have a meeting with their club representative, their president, prior to any decision being made in that Congress. So that when they go into Congress, all the teams are on the same line.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Looking at your former role as a national coach goalkeeper, how do you feel with how when players come to you, and I'm talking about at the higher level, at the national level, the goalkeepers, are they sound? Because we all know, and I'm pretty sure Punchy, you would know this as a coach, we spend a lot of time on the strikers and defenders and the midfielders creating stuff. We spend very little time on the technical parts of goalkeeping at the club level.
Yes, I'm gonna step in here. I'm gonna step in here, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, Mr. Earl. Okay, I spent time when I was with my grandson in Bournemouth. I was taken to the training session. I was there, and Deshaun, I'm gonna tell you. So when we used to go to training sessions, take him to training sessions, right? In the training sessions, there'll be on the 18s, there'll be on the 13s, there'll be on the 10, on the 12s, at the time. But in the area, so it's huge complex anyway. And I when I first went in, I used to watch the goalkeeping coaching. And so what they did, they had about 4. I couldn't believe this was happening. So I used to say, "Whoa, let me watch this goalkeeping session here." So they had another 12 young men. Yeah. Short me, I'm as small as me. They had another 16 goalkeeper. They had another 18 goalkeeper, and then they had 4 coaches. Yeah. 4 coaches coaching there. And I'm gonna tell you something. I was almost in tears to watch that young 12-year-old, the amount of work that he had to do. And I was like, wow. I mean, work. Yeah. Work. Yep. But the point that I'm making, I'm glad we're having this conversation about that, Sean, and I'm gonna bring you full circle about this. I couldn't have 4 coaches coaching these goalkeepers.
Yeah.
This young man at 12 years old was like, I couldn't believe. I was like, whoa. So I go to a session, and this is not, I'm not trying to be nowhere about the national program.
Right.
So I go to a session a couple of weeks ago before they left to go to Florida.
Okay.
And was a goalkeeping session, and I watched the 2 goalkeepers. There was not a single coach there coaching them. They were just coaching themselves. And I'm gonna speak about it, whether anybody was heard or not. I was kind of surprised about that. And my friend was also like, whoa, where's the goalkeeping coach? Now, these 2 young men were working extremely hard, but they were not being advised on the mistakes. So I didn't see no goalkeeping coach there, Deshaun and Earl. And I was like, whoa. Kyle had the senior team, and it was 2 coaches there. Not a single person coaching the goalkeeping coaches. I'm like, at the national program, I was concerned about that. I just like, you know, from what, and that's my experiences. That's what I want to relate to you, what I witnessed.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. So Deshaun, what is going on in the national program that I don't see no goalkeeping, no goalkeeping coach there?
If I'm honest, I can't say much on it because I haven't been up there in a while. So I handed in my resignation in 2019. Sorry, yeah, about 2019, yeah, because you know, things with my academy were picking up, FC Baskin was picking up, and obviously stuff with BAA. But you know, so I can't really speak much on it, you know what I mean? But it makes me sad because just like how you went to Bournemouth, I got a chance to spend a week at West Ham. First of all, best week of my life.
Right.
West Ham have 3 training grounds. I got to go to one, Chadwell Heath. So Chadwell Heath is home to their U15s, U18s, and the U23s. So Nathan trains between there and between Rush Green. Rush Green is where the first team trains and where the women's team trains. So Nathan's between those 2 training grounds, right? And just like you said, it's amazing. It's amazing, you know. If you look at Nathan and you look at his journey, he has a chance to make it in the Premier League. He has a chance. I'm not going to say he's going to make it. I'm not going to say he's not going to make it. He has a chance. And exactly what you just said is exactly why some of our kids don't have a chance here. So if you look at me, and again, I have to be careful with how I say this because I don't want to come off as disrespectful in any way, shape, or form, right? I grew up through Danny Town. I had not a single ounce of what my academy does now. I didn't have any of that. Not a single lick of it, right? So when I got 16, 17, 18, I had no chance. I couldn't go to New York for a weekend and go to a trial. I couldn't go on Instagram and pull my highlights up and hope that Fulham see it. You know what I mean? But no, we have these avenues, and it's no chance for the majority. So okay, like the 2 names that I mentioned, Peter Sylvester, he has a chance. Malai P-Rod, he has a chance. Sakari Turner with the women's national team has a chance. You know, Kaiwan Simons, Chairs Knight, a lot of young goalkeepers now, they have a chance. You know what I mean? Because like we're looking at these technical aspects, and not just technical, but obviously having them tactically sound, and obviously physically able to do things, and obviously mentally sound enough to deal with the expectations and the pressures. But if you take that out, or if you just leave it to chance, then that's exactly what it is. It's no chance. If and I recite this from Coach Bascom, right? If I come over to your house to fix your car right now and I just bring a hammer, you would think I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? And that's how we kind of send some of these players out into the world, and I don't think it's fair. And I think that's why football is kind of slowly dying here. And I'm somewhat glad that COVID happened because it made us kind of slow down and made us realize what's missing, what we aren't doing, and obviously what we need to do. Because you know what you just said to me kind of hurts, you know what I mean? Especially me as a former national coach, 3 years, you know. And I'd like to think that I did a good bit there when I was a national coach, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want that happen, you know. But it's the reality, and I guess until we realize that it's the reality, until we acknowledge it, and until we do something to change the reality, then it'll just we'll just keep being 169th in the world, right? So that's
But
just the reality.
getting back to the original question, the level of goalkeeping that's getting to the national academies. What do you when you were there? What would you consider the ranking of the goalkeeper 1 through 10?
I'm not gonna say 10. That'd be really arrogant of me to say 10. It'd be very arrogant of me to say 10. I would say I'd range between 6.5 to 8. You know what I mean? Because it was when I arrived there, or when I started there. Obviously, the level was, I'm not going to say bad, but it wasn't world class.
Right.
And I like to say over the years it got to a certain level. You know what I mean? So when I got there, you only had one goalkeeper that you would for sure start for the under-17s. That was Quinacio Hunt, right? If Quinacio Hunt got injured and you had to look for somebody for the under-17 national team, no way. You know what I mean? Like, you would be panicking because you can't find somebody else. If you look at the pool of goalkeepers that are in the U17s now, it's at least six. At least six. Malai Pirot, Nick Kemp, Mateo, Torren Place, Nikanji Dorm, or even throw him in there. But it's so many names now because I'm not going to say that it's me. I'm not going to say that, but it's because, like, those kids have massive hopes, dreams, and aspirations, don't they? You know what I mean? You take a kid like Malai, he goes to Leicester, he sees that training ground. He's thinking about playing Premier League football daily now. Mm. We have to give somewhat of an environment similar to that here in order to keep his dreams alive. Because the reality is, guys, if we don't, and 5 years down the line he quits football and he pulls up to us and he robs us, we're gonna blame him. And I don't think that's fair. So it's sticky, man. It's like, I don't know how to say it.
No, I'm gonna jump in on that. I'm so glad, Deshaun. No, you can say it, Deshaun. That's why I said, I come on this show and we're gonna say some things that it might kind of make people, oh my God, they're gonna talk about that. Yes, we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
And we're just being honest, huh? What have we lacked? And I think a lot of it's got to do in our organization before the player goes on the field and goes onto that pitch. And it comes full, that embodies everything.
Yeah.
The facilities, because now I think, Earl, we talked about this months ago. We all get much smarter about how the game should be played. Not because we're in a small country, but Deshaun, we are more inclined to be studying the game more and in preparation for what it needs to be done.
Yep.
So all we are now asking questions of the clubs and the association, why is this not been done? And Deshaun, you're a good man. I really applaud Mr. Andrew Bascom. He came, his philosophy is good. You're in good hands with Mr. Bascom. But the point is that where we are going, and some shows are going to be tread on.
Yeah.
But at least we need to ask these questions.
Yeah.
And I think, for instance, I read in the papers the other day, the monies that have been given to the clubs to fix up the facilities, we're kind of heading in the right direction. I hope that Crossroads, that you down there in your program, that it seems to be building, that you're not just going to get people from other clubs, you're going to build a program there. Really. Well, and I'm really proud of you for, I know a few of those guys down there that help there. But the point that I'm making here is that, like you said, we can't just afford to send people overseas and say, listen, this is going to happen automatically. This doesn't happen like that. We got to be much more prepared. At 10 years old, coaching right, organization, and then maybe we can start saying, now you're ready to go there. Now you're ready to go to the Leicester at 12 years old. Yeah. I've got a grandson. I'm going to tell you right now, I've got a grandson who's been leaving in another year, another one. Yeah. He's been leaving. He's going to live probably up in Liverpool. I'm going to be on his case.
Yeah.
Yes, I will. He's got to be ready mentally and physically. He's got to be working every day. So again, it's about preparation, which I am most concerned about now in this country.
Yeah, that's my issue.
So I don't want to get nobody no false hopes, and that's it. And that's what we're talking about here.
Exactly. Like, and that's my thing as well, right? So I had a player, Josiah Van Loo, who's over in West Ham now, right? it's got a chance, man. But like you said, the preparation aspect is so important. You know what I mean? If you go around, the technical ability is it's bad, you guys. It's bad. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All around, even with goalkeeping. I mean, like, you name one senior goalkeeper who has the mentality to want to catch every single shot that comes his way. You know what I mean? You name a goalkeeper that has the ambition or the desire to hit every single pass. You know what I mean? And that's all it is. It's like we're not technically sound enough to compete on the world stage. To me, we aren't. And it's just all around. And I even had to change my direction with the academy. So with the academy, it's our fourth year now. Fourth season, sorry. In the first season, in the first 2 seasons, I went strictly technical. I'm talking about the basic of the basic of the basic. Literally throwing a ball at your face and catching it. Rolling the ball at your feet and scooping it and smothering it. You know what I mean? Things like that, right? In the third year, I started to get away from it. I started to go towards a more tactical approach of goalkeeping. And I think I got away from what it was originally and starting to go back to that now. It's getting better and it's looking better. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have a goalkeeper who's strong enough to catch a shot. A goalkeeper that's fast enough to cover 6 yards in less than 2 seconds, to break a line, to start corners and all that stuff. You need to have a goalkeeper. Okay, like, for example, I'm sure you guys like Manchester City's goalkeeper, simply because he can use both feet and he can jam the ball 80, 90, 100 yards. You know what I mean? Like, even that, every single goalkeeper worldwide can stop a shot. Can they hit a ball with both feet? Can they hit a side volley? Can they hit half volleys? Can they get out of a tight situation in less than 3 touches? Can they break a line? Do they know about breaking lines? Do they know about hitting certain areas of the pitch and how? Do they know how to chip it, drive it, stab it, all that, right? And the reality is that they don't. You know what I mean? And if they don't. So, for example, I got the chance to see Nathan Trott live, right? He was West Ham and Arsenal. The guy's awesome. You know what I mean? The guy could hit a penny with a ball from 70 yards. You know what I mean? Like, and like, that's what you're going into. And to think that you don't have to train daily or that you don't have to show these kids how to do it and they can just break into West Ham's first team is arrogant. So you see a player like Nathan Trott is struggling to get into the first team over a guy like Fabianski, who's had well over 10 years of Premier League experience. You know what I mean? It's you have to prepare these kids to go into the right direction, technically more than anything, because tactics is like the easy part, right? We all know we all know 4-4-2, we all know 4-3-3, we all know about 5 at the back with wing backs, we all know about diamond mid, we all know about it, we all know how to coach it, right? Or you can pick up a book and you can study it for 2 weeks and then you can coach it over 4 weeks. You can do that easy. But it takes years of practice to master technical ability. It takes years of practice. You know how long I was down Bernard Park hitting side volleys until I mastered it? Like, I've been hitting half volleys for the last 6 months down at the turf field, and I still mess it up sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, that's just always and always and always and always and always a practice, and that's just not what we're doing. We're not doing it.
We're going to take our final commercial break, but when we come back, Cooper, I'm going to ask you about how you deal with being an active player in Girl and having a coaching academy.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
This month, we're featuring a range of infant and baby care products from Hello Bello, a company started up by a husband and wife team who were inspired to meet the challenges arising from the often surprising, not to mention messy experiences that came with the territory known as parenting. The couple behind Hello Bello know that being a parent is uniquely demanding, and their mission is to bring you premium products at gentle prices. Try Hello Bello Alpha diapers in a range of sizes, Alpha Blossom baby lotion, baby powder, and much more. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Obviously, Coop, when I first saw you starting your camps, one of the things, and I always noticed when you were playing, it always was something in the back of your mind of what you had taught not to do in the game. Did I analyze that right?
Yeah.
I noticed it because at times when you first started, I know it could be difficult because you in your mind you're saying, okay, I've taught these kids to do this. I can't go out here and not do it because they're all watching.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like not even that, but just like not even precious, man, but just like, okay, prime example, FA Cup semifinal, Dandytown 2019. Every goal kick, literally every goal kick, here's someone on the sideline saying, Coop, you're dumb, you coach children and you're dumb. Every goal kick. And I took about 20 that night. Like
Welcome to Bermuda football. Yep.
It's crazy. Like if you play and coach at the same time, man, you got to be Jesus, man. Seriously. But I mean, it's just, I guess for me, it really helped because I had to study. You know, not just to make sure that I was doing the right things, but I guess relaying the right information. So, and just remembering it, right? Like it just always stayed in my head. And I credit Timmy Figueredo for a big time because when I was 18, when I kind of first got back into senior football, I had a year off, signed for Robin Hood, and you know Timmy was there, and like Timmy showed me a lot of stuff technically, you know what I mean, like breaking it down, catching, diving, you know what I mean, going up for high diving, how to land, you know what I mean, how like a lot of goalkeepers here didn't even know how to land. So like I'll go up for a high dive and someone will say, "Oh man, yeah, that must have hurt," and I'm like, "No," you know what I mean? Just little stuff like that, how to punch, you know, like for example, like okay, I'll show you guys something, right? If you go up to punch a ball, your knuckles can't be too tense because then your knuckles become unbalanced, so you don't punch the ball evenly. So just little stuff like that. I had to study it and I had to keep it inside my head. And obviously, you know, I made mistakes. I mean, come on, you know, but you know, for some reason here you can't, right? But yeah, man, it was interesting, but it really helped my overall knowledge of the game. And yeah, I guess, you know, I just tried my best to pass it on, really.
Well, I'm glad, Earl. Because history has been lost, and you know we haven't got a visual, like you can visually say, okay, I went to watch some old goalkeepers that played in my time,
Right.
and so have you ever spoken to anyone like Barry Kudo? There was so many great goalkeepers. Listen, Arnold West, Tango Burgess, Ed Barnes. I can go on and on. Ed Barnes, Colin Painter, Sam. I don't know if you've ever talked to Sam Cat Newsom.
Never.
But yeah, you know, so much is because you know I used to watch it before I even started playing. It was so much. These guys were just unbelievable goalkeepers.
Yeah.
But have you ever had a chat with any of them about? The
only ones that I really had a chance to chat with, obviously Dr. Lou. I had a good chat with him. Timmy, you know, always try to speak with him. Got a lot of time for him. But not a whole lot, man. And it makes me sad because, like, you know, coach is always talking about and like just like you're throwing those names out there, he'll throw a lot of those names out to me, and I'm like, no, man, I have no idea who that is. And his eyes go wide, and he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I I don't know. I grew up under I used to watch Timmy a lot when I was little, and obviously coming up through Dandytown, I think Simandi was in goal for Dandytown at the time.
Right.
And used to watch Nigel Burgess a little bit when he was on the national team. But that was really it. Watch Crocker a bit, watch Sarge Bell a bit. Obviously, you know, everybody's watching Dale. He's younger than me, but I was watching him. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, the guy was amazing. It still is, right?
You said a name, right, that would have raised a lot of people's eyebrows, and that was Colin Painter.
Yes.
When he broke into that Wellington Rovers team as a young man, the world was his oyster as a goalkeeper.
Yes.
But I think he chose his career over football. But just hearing those names that you've called off, just to have a chat with those guys about how they prepared, how they, you know,
Yeah.
They had, listen, most of the guys back in the day, Cooper, whether you're a goalkeeper or whether you was trying to break into the team, you all had to show up to training, you had to put in the work, you had to, so nobody was slacking off. Not a soul was slacking off, because come game day, it would show.
Yeah.
And you didn't want, the last thing you wanted was to go in the change room after the game, and
Yes.
some guy sitting across from you is kind of, on you, because the Tuesday night or the Wednesday night or the Thursday night, you gave us 25% while everybody else was giving 100, and today it should.
Yes.
And see, that's a whole nother thing, right? Like, just like you said with those players showing up to training and giving the all, like, a lot of people don't realize how many seasons that I sat bench. You know what I mean? I played for Robin Hood for 3 seasons.
Uh-huh.
I played 120 minutes. I played 1 full match and I played a half. Right? I know, yeah, the math is off, but don't worry about that. But yeah, and but every single session, I guess for me at the time, it was just about learning and just getting better, because I knew that one day I would be in a position where it would be the complete opposite. You know what I mean? And it's funny that you say that, because I don't think a lot of players have that mentality.
No.
Players just want to go to a team and just walk into it, right?
Yes.
Like, you guys should have saw our team when we first came up, man. We signed about 6-7 players, and they all wanted to just walk into the team. You know, but that's how it is. That's
yeah.
It is, man.
I just my final analysis of all this. I'm so glad Deshaun, that you want to show, just like Earl invited me. That it's just a new beginning for us. We're treading on new ground, and I think we're heading in the right direction. I think we are. I think we really are. People like yourself, with Mr. Bascom, the academies, and the more we go and seek this knowledge, that I think it's better for the country.
Yeah.
Even though people say, "Oh, it's such a small country," we have such a small pool to pick from.
Yeah.
So what you were telling me, what you're saying to me, is that we cannot overlook this small organization things, how we put this all together to get these kids ready for the next level.
Yeah.
And I do understand it. I'm so glad to speak to people like yourself, because we're speaking to so many people on the same topic about this direction that we're heading in.
Yeah.
And I think we're heading in the right direction. And people like yourself, thank God for people like yourself, for the academy, for what you're trying to do, sincerity of what you're trying to accomplish. Now, I'm gonna give you an example.
Okay.
You and Earl asked you about coaching and playing and having an academy.
Yeah.
Hands up to you. Because when David Bascom first left this country to go play for in Baltimore at Harrisburg, I used to go there summertime to help him with his captains. He was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But he was always sincere about what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it was still new. The country is still, it was just, the United States was just taking off. Look where they are today.
Yeah.
So in terms of what I'm saying to you is that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
I think we're heading the right path. I'm just giving you hands up that you're on the right path. You're with Crossroads. You're still a young club, growing club. I do believe that. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best.
Yeah, cheers.
But I still, for the country, it's for the country, the betterment of the country. People like yourself are going to help this country. It might not happen in in 5 years, but still, I think we're still heading in the right direction.
Yeah,
that's what I believe. People like yourself, and I applaud you for that. And thank you much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Seriously, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to extend that as well, Deshaun. Thank you very much. You've enlightened us on quite a few things, and obviously, hopefully, everybody waits for the health department's next move, and then because there's got to be a trickle down effect. So it's the health department, it's the premier, then it's the association, and then it's over to you guys.
Just season, man. I don't want to get relegated.
Well, I mean, that the scenarios, there could only be 2 scenarios.
Yeah.
And the 2 would have to be 1, call it off. 2, play the cup games.
Or like how we were saying earlier, just scrap it and just do a little tournament.
Mini tournament of sorts.
Do a little mini tournament, and that would be great. And you can somewhat centralize it. You have the stadium, you have Northfield, you can use the turf fields also. How many players would want that, right? Like I don't like as much as I love Crossroads, I would play at National Stadium or Northfield over Garrison any day.
Right.
I love it. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
if you say tournament at National Stadium and you got some cameras up there and you got some footage and fans and well not fans but
Right.
come on, I'm saying yes one time. But if you're telling me that the season starts next week and I'm gonna play Donnie Rack, I'm vexed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, one thing's for sure, the rack looks good. The rack looks good. There's
Yeah,
a lot
they
of
look- yeah,
grass on the ground.
Well,
Hey,
it all looks good. Yeah, for a while. But they need to fix, I still think they need to fix those lights. Don't you think so? I'm talking out of turn here. I still don't know how you guys, the goalkeepers, get. How do you see the ball when it's coming from the
Red
southern
side.
side coming in?
Yeah.
Oh my God! But anyway, that's another story in itself. But again, hey, it's great. Thank you very much, Deshaun. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, and I want to thank you again. And folks, do enjoy the rest of your night.